Okay. Yep, we should be good to go. All right. Good afternoon, Margie. Thank you for joining me again today for this next assessment session. Just some quick details. I will run through a bit of a script, just letting you know what we're doing, and then we'll jump in and work on the questions and go from there. Okay. So today we'll be completing the RPL assessment for BSB WRT311, which is Write Simple Work Documents. Okay. So the purpose of the assessment is to confirm that you have the skills and the knowledge required to plan, draft, and review simple workplace documents. So basically, RPL process is recognition of prior learning. So you're submitting information to me saying that in my workplace, I do all of these things anyway. So this is just my way of checking that, yes, you actually can create those documents. Okay, so to do that, I'll ask you a series of questions and get you to discuss what it is you do and how you do them. If I need any more information, I might just ask some questions again or re-clarify things like that. So I need you to demonstrate your understanding of how you produce those documents and things like that. Okay. As per usual, responses are either satisfactory or non-satisfactory. If it's possibly bordering on non-satisfactory, I'll probably ask for some more information so we can clarify, just to make sure that we can get to where we need to by the end of the session. If you don't understand any of the questions, please just let me know and I can try and rephrase them so you can actually get to what I'm actually asking you for. I don't believe you need any extra help with literacy or numeracy or anything like that based on our past assessment pieces. So at the end, you'll be competent or not competent. Because this is RPL, you do actually still have to supply me with some of the documents that you have created in your workplace already. Because I don't have them at this point, even after we finish the questions, you would still be temporarily not competent until I get those pieces of work as well. So does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I also do need to take some notes just about your answers as we go. So if I sort of look like I'm doing something else or not fully focusing on you, I am. I'm just trying to take the notes as we go as well. Okay. Any questions from you about what we're doing?
That sounds really good. I understand. Yes.
Yeah. You may answer questions, like combine answers in questions. So if I think you've done that, I'll just say, I think we've already addressed this or something along those lines. Okay. All right. First question is, tell me about the type of documents you create in your job and what are they for and who are they for?
Within my role, I do a lot of emails. So, both sometimes they're formal, sometimes they're just casual emails out to maybe one person or out to a whole group of people. I also take the minutes from several meetings. We have like our staff meeting and then we have our actual teacher aid meeting or any union meetings and things like that. I document the minutes. And I also sometimes, that's really sometimes I have to write a letter, like a business letter or a letter home describing an activity or something that's going to take place. Yeah.
Yeah. So letters home probably directed to parents.
Yes.
That sort of thing.
But everything you write, though, of course, has to be approved by the principal. So I'm not the sole signature on it. There is a process and a policy for that.
Yep, which leads us beautifully into our next question, which is, for one of your documents, tell me how you determined your audience, purpose, requirements for your document according to organisation policy and procedures. So if you want to elaborate on the letter part that you were talking about.
Yeah, well, generally with the letter, it's going out. Sorry, a bit of a tickle in my throat today. It's going out to parents of children that might be involved in a volunteering activity, which I help to coordinate through the school through our Cert 2 and volunteering, or at the moment I'm involved in a recreational or a group of the singing students have a singing club, so we've had to send some letters home for that. So my target audience is the parents. So in doing that, I'm writing in easily distinguishable terms, like it's a formal letter, but I do use language that's friendly language to everybody, because I have to always be aware of the level of literacy of my clientele. In saying that, then the letter is then passed to the principal or a person in admin who proofreads it for me and, advises me of any changes. And then as well as my signature on the bottom of the letter, then it has to be also that person's signature as well, generally the principal's. It has to be, of course, posted out on school letterhead, and because that's one of the requirements. We have a standard school letterhead that everybody uses.
Yeah. Okay. So that's sort of directed through your school and probably the education department, I would suggest.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep. Cool. All right. For one of your documents, tell me how you determine the required format, style, and structure for that document.
Well, when I'm recording the minutes for the staff meeting, we've actually got a template for that. So
Mhm.
it records everything. So each week everything is recorded in the same sequence. So that
Yep.
the agenda, the date and the agenda goes to the top of the document. It's in table form.
Mhm.
And then as we work through the agenda, item 1, item 2, item 3, they're all in capsulated into the cells across that row, and the actions and the people who are delivering it, and then the actions that need to be taken. And then at the bottom of that document, then we have all the details of when the next meeting will be, and once again, any actions that are needed by the to everybody or anybody is being sent out to. Not everybody is able to attend the staff meetings because they don't all work on a Tuesday. So having that document in that same format each week, and it's an easy structure for people to read and refer to, and having that having it broken down into points that were discussed as per the agenda. Yep.
Do you find the sort of familiarity of it leads to better understanding? Like they know this is how it comes out each week?
Yes, for sure. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm. And did you have much input into the template development or
No, the
something?
template's been standard within our organisation now for quite a few years.
Mhm.
And across I'm also involved as student council. They use the same template.
Yeah.
It's a really easy template for everyone to use. It kind of like it diverts from that usual minute structure where you have correspondence in, correspondence out, because that's not the type of meeting that we're holding.
Yeah.
We're
Mhm.
holding an information delivery session or a chance for discussion, really. And then by dividing it into those points on a table, it is much easier for people to follow.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Let's see. For one of your documents, tell me how you establish the correct method of communication.
Well, let's take, for example, the minutes. So it needs to go out to everybody on staff, especially those people who couldn't attend. So the next morning after the meeting, I send it out in a group email across the school to an all staff email that the school has created.
Yep. Okay. I was just going to ask about how that email group was created, but it's something that is done through the school, so obviously everyone is part of it.
Yes, everyone's part of it. There are several group emails within our school. So I mean, to stop overload into inboxes. If it's just to do with teachers, like stuff that
Mm.
auxiliary staff do not have to be involved in or don't have a cause to read, then it would just go to the group email for teachers. If it's just something that for auxiliary staff, or like that's cleaners or the education support staff, then they have dedicated group emails as
Yeah.
well. It just stops that cluttering of
Yeah.
inboxes. Yeah.
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 And I guess email is probably better than trying to go around individually and tell people the information.
Oh, for sure. Or even relying on people to look on a notice board because people
Yeah.
just don't have the time or the
Mm.
inclination sometimes to do so. They don't have the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
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 And just make sure everyone gets the same information at the same time.
Yes.
Yep. Awesome. All right. For one of your documents, tell me how you establish the key points to be included in your document, which I sort of think we've brushed over a little bit.
Mm.
So you're talking about your minutes and your time
Talking about
frame
the
and you,
minutes again.
yeah,
Yes, time frame. So once again, the agenda for every staff meeting in a term is preset, and
yeah,
those agendas come out at the start of the term. So I know in advance
mm,
exactly how I'm going to be filling in the top of those minutes when it comes to the date and the agenda. So I've got that all pre-filled before I go in
yeah,
there because otherwise you're typing away and you don't want to lose
yeah,
your place
bit
being
frantic.
mucking around with those finer things. So that's how was that answering the question, Tan? I just forgot what the question was
Yeah, so
again.
it was about determining the key points to be included in your document. So you
Yeah. So
you
so
talked earlier
those there's
about
a yeah, preset
so
agenda, and that beautifully is always. So the deputy principal, she on the morning of the staff meeting, she sends out the title of the agenda for that day, and she actually breaks it down into steps, like
mm,
item 1, item 2, item 3. So all I have
yeah.
to do is go in then and enter it, those things, and they're all pre-done before I get there, so that I can be part of the meeting as well and not just typing like a lunatic.
Yep. You also mentioned like it has places for all your actions and who's responsible.
Yes,
So
it does.
that template is gathering all of that data for you, making it nice and straightforward. Yep. Awesome. For one of your documents, tell me how you developed the draft document to communicate key points.
Well,
potentially your letters or something.
Yes, if we could go back to that a letter that I recently sent out about the singing group going to an event. Obviously, I had to research the key points that went in there, like the date of the event, how we're going to get there, what we'll be doing, and who were the personnel in charge, who'd be involved with, so that parents had every bit of information and no room for sort of not leaving anybody with wondering exactly what was happening. So I did that and then passed it to at the time the acting deputy principal, so that she could proofread it and say that was all right, that was correct. And then it goes into the process then, of course, of that final getting signed and sent out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think you've probably covered the next question there as well. So you've said, the question was, how do you ensure your draft met the purpose and the requirements for the document? So you've done your research, you've got all the information, you've then taken it to your deputy principal. She's looked at it and said, yep, this is everything we need. So it's that process of gathering information and getting someone else's eyes to run over it. That's basically how it runs.
And someone to also read and look at your, even though like to look at your grammar and punctuation and stuff like that and wording. I mean, you can sometimes get a little bit long-winded when you're describing what's happening. So just someone else to say, we can probably say this differently.
Yep. Okay. All right. So did you have to obtain or include any additional information required in your draft? If so, what was it and why? Was there anything else you needed or missed or?
No, in that particular case, there wasn't. But in other times when we have teacher aid meetings and I take the minutes for that, I'm also actively involved in it. And sometimes I have to the next morning backtrack and fill in notes I've taken that sometimes can be a bit scant. That then goes to my line manager who runs that meeting, and she will quite often read over that and then she will advise me that I may have missed something, or maybe my turn of phrase hasn't encapsulated exactly what she was trying to, what was actually discussed. So that happens frequently, that exchange between her and I when we do those minutes. So, so I have to, re-edit some of those minutes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. In your workplace, are there any documents that you must have a supervisor or a colleague, for example, proofread before they can be sent out?
Well, yes. Well, that's when we talked about our business letters. Any letters, anything that goes home to parents has to be proofread by someone in admin and feedback given and corrections made if necessary, and make sure that it's in the proper format. Like that it's not.
Yeah, very good. So we've talked about that. You also talked about the two signatures, yourself and someone from admin. So that's checking that this is the right information that's coming out from the school.
Yep. And it's also being endorsed by the school.
Yes.
I mean, anyone can send a letter home from parents, but that a letter that's endorsed by the principal, they know, right, this is what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, good. Okay, what changes did you have to make to any of your documents? How did you ensure those changes were made correctly? Was it checked again before it was finalised or something like that? I think we've probably covered it a lot.
So certainly with those minutes I was talking about from the ESO meetings. So Jody actually sends me my line management, she sends me typed down how she saw it, and like I add that to it. I always send those completed minutes to her again before they get sent out.
Yeah.
Because for those meetings, once again, there's always one or two people who cannot attend.
Yeah.
And the message of what's going on needs to be very clear and very accurate, because we don't get together as a group very often either. So that's the process there. The line manager does. We do double check and send the final copy before it goes out in the group emails to the ESOs. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's a bit of a double checking process. You've done it, proofread, fix mistakes, go back out again. Yeah. So again, ensuring everyone gets the same information at the same time, sort of thing. Yep. Okay. All right. How do you check your documents for spelling, grammar, and punctuation issues?
I rely on Word to flag anything that they think is a red line or a blue line, or I can't quite remember. Yes, you get both of those. I always read back, and
Mm.
every time I read back an email, I see that I've missed a word. I've spelt form instead of from. That's my absolute always.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. But and just I'm not a great lover of AI
Mm.
in any way, shape, or form, but that particular proofreading or whatever, I never rely on AI for wording for myself or anything like that. But that's generally, and then as I said, in the proofreading process, if it was a letter going home, if there was a blaring obvious grammar or wording that's not correct, then you'd accept the feedback on that, and consider it. But quite often when I go back through and read something, I'll shorten it, rephrase it, and shorten it, condense it, because for sure. I think that just that second proofread in by personally taking into account all the things that the grammar and spelling check, and then of course that next line of checking from the next person.
Do you find read aloud is better than just reading it quietly to yourself? I know if I read it quietly to myself, I still think what's there rather than read aloud. is one of my tools that I use.
I suppose that is a tool. I suppose I have used that once or twice. I definitely, when I'm working with students, and I know that doesn't relate to this, when they've written a document, I'll read it and I'll think to myself, and I'll say to them, I'm going to read this to you and you tell me what you think. And and I don't put in all the words and stuff they've missed, and they go, oh, okay. So definitely reading aloud is a wonderful tool, but I seldom use it.
Okay, very good. All right, what is your process for ensuring your document is readable and that sentences, paragraphs, sequences, and structure of the document are correct?
I think we've probably
I
covered
think
it
we've
fairly
probably
well.
that proofreading, going back over it, and having a set of a second set of eyes over it as well.
Yes.
Okay. What are two examples of your organisation's policies and procedures for written documents?
Well, the first one is what I mentioned before, that we have that letterhead.
Yes.
And that anything that goes out of our school has to have that. Like the school newsletter has the school badge, which is used in our letterhead on it. Like anything that goes officially from the school incorporates that school badge. And in the case of documents, it's the letterhead. On emails, we all have a signature at the bottom of our emails, electronic signature. And I'm not quite sure of the correct term for it, but that incorporates the title of what we are, with the position within the school, and it also carries the school badge once again, so that when somebody from outside of our organization or even internally is receiving that document, they can see exactly what school it was, that it has some kind of formal tone to it, and that you are a representative of your school.
Very important to let other people know that this is what it is, particularly in this day and age where you're never sure what you're getting. So that's good.
And that's standard. Everybody has the same one.
Yes.
We were sent out instructions of how to set it up, and so that's also standard. Some people divert from that and add a little quote or something. That's fine. But pretty
generally
standard.
that's got a list of things that you have to have on there.
Yes.
Good. All right, we're nearly there. 2 to go. When would you use general emails in your work setting to communicate something, and why?
Well, once again, sending out all the staff meeting minutes. That's general email to everybody the next morning. So that's and the reason that we do that, I've explained, I suppose, that not everybody can attend. Everybody's getting the same information at the same time.
So as I say, timely manner, you can get information to a lot of people, and it's all exactly the same. Good. All right, last question. When would you use procedures to communicate something, and why?
Procedures. Could you just clarify that? I've just forgotten what procedures, as in, is that maybe the procedure, where is that I'm giving that to the line manager for proofreading? Is that the type of procedure we're talking about? So so obviously we've gone over that a couple of times, but the procedure for the staff meeting, for example, it's sent out the next morning. So because what's the point of sending it out the day after or the day after that? Old news is dead news, really. And they've either heard it from the second hand source that may not always be reliable, or it's the time passed for debt. You may have action something the next day. Like for example, this in the social stance of some of the social announcements, it may be that you know, this week the staff's having a dinner, a pub dinner as a bit of a social activity. Like if I don't get that out the next morning, it doesn't give people time to say, oh, I think I'd like to go to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's the procedure in that case. So I take the minutes in the staff meeting. The next morning when I get to work, after I've checked, see if I have any important emails, I sit down and go through it and tidy it up because it always needs tidying up. And then in that day, sometimes it's not directly that morning, but in that day, I get those minutes out to the staff.
Okay. Excellent. All right, so that's covered all of the questions that we need to address. I'm going to have a look at the notes that I've taken and finish off your assessment. If you can remember to send me in some samples of those documents that we requested, just to show that you can actually create the documents as well as you understand and can talk to the...
So they would be the 3 documents we talked about, is it?
Yes, yeah. So something minutes, in the minutes, the newsletter, and potentially a copy of a letter or something like that.
A copy of a letter or an email, like an email.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, for sure.
And then so a combination of those plus your answers to the questions will be used to deem whether you're competent or not. Okay. So any questions about that?
No, it sounds great. I look forward to hearing my result.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Ooh. Are you still there, Margie?